my end of the regular season power rankings. And before I jump into it, I just want to thank you guys for sticking with me the entire NFL season. It means the world to me. Since the regular season's over and we're now headed into the playoffs, we're just gonna put all the teams that are eliminated right on the pyramid. And we'll keep it really brief with them. The Jets, are you gonna stick with Aaron Glenn? I don't see a quarterback coming to you in the draft that will change your franchise. You got a lot to decide on. Titans, you have found your quarterback in Cam Ward. He is really special, but you really need to surround him with way better talent next year. Raiders, you have let me down way more than you could have ever expected, and there's a video coming up on that next. Pete Carroll, you're out of a job. Fernando Mendoza is going to be your next QB. Will he pan out? I don't really think he's a guy. Cardinals, where did this season go wrong? Well, just about everywhere. Who's going to be your next quarterback? Who's going to be your next head coach? Nobody knows. Giants, who's going to be your next head coach? I think Jackson Dart's your QB of the future. You should not trade off of him. The Kansas City Chiefs are picking in the top 10 of the NFL draft, and we'll get Patrick Mahomes back at some point next year. That means they're just reloading. Washington Commanders, nobody really expected this type of year for you guys. This was an absolute year from hell. You just need to get healthy. The Dolphins, what will you end up doing at head coach? What will you end up doing at quarterback? I don't think Quinn Ewers is the guy for the future. I don't think Mike McDaniels is the guy for the future either. What will you do? The Saints, you seem to have found your head coach and your QB in Tyler Shuck. That's a really good pairing that should be pretty good for next year. You give me the same vibes as the Lions, who made the playoffs the next year after winning late when they couldn't do anything. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers had one of the single greatest in-season fall-offs that I've ever seen, especially in a division that bad. Will Todd Bowles still be the head coach headed into next season? I would assume not. The Indianapolis Colts just got really unlucky with their QB health. They did hit a bit of a wall towards the midpoint of the season, but this roster is still really good. They should be right back in it next year. The Bengals have a lot to decide. Can they win with this roster as it's constructed, or will they move off of Joe Burrow? This team is obviously really special on offense, but this defense has been terrible for so many years. They have a lot to figure out. The Atlanta Falcons just fired their head coach and their GM because they went 0 for 2 on quarterbacks. They paid Kirk Cousins a ton of money to sit behind Michael Penix Jr., and they drafted Michael Penix Jr. to not play well and to not even be healthy. Going 0 for 2 on quarterbacks is going to get you fired, especially with how elite this roster is around them. I mean, some head coach is going to walk into this job and just walk into a playoff spot, especially with how bad this division is. The Cowboys and Jerry Jones actually have to go into next season and make a couple more additions to this defense to really solidify themselves as a true contender, and they need to re-sign George Pickens. The Browns still have to figure out who's going to be their next head coach and who's going to be their quarterback. Shedeur Sanders had some really good games and some really good play, but I just don't see it yet. He's a guy that you could build with, especially with how good this defense is, but they need more offensive weapons. They need a better O-line, and I just don't know if Shedeur's that guy. He could be, but I just don't know yet. The Ravens just lost their season on a field goal kick, and John Harbaugh is probably going to lose his job. Lamar Jackson seems really uninterested in being a Raven anymore, so I wonder what they're going to do. The Lions have one of the best rosters in the league and one of the best head coaches in the league, and yet they couldn't even make the playoffs. They've been really unlucky with their injuries, and the ceiling of this team and the championship window seems to be closing in on them. They need to have an incredible offseason to get back to where they were, and I believe that's totally possible. And the Vikings had a really up and down